3 days has passed and Mordred diligently trained with G over the course of 3 days, honing her combat skills. Despite G not being a fighter himself, his wisdom and knowledge proved invaluable in Mordred's development. Her capabilities had improved significantly, now possessing an extreme level of hand-to-hand combat skills, enhanced control over her mana bursts, a master level of breathing control and a versatile sword fighting style adaptable to any situation or opponent. On this particular morning, Mordred was learning various sword techniques, and presently, G was demonstrating how to use the sword defensively as a shield rather than an attacking tool.
That's right, Mordred. Hold the sword in reverse. Use your pinky finger to control the grip's power. Don't grasp it too tightly.
Why? Shouldn't I hold the sword firmly to parry their attacks?
If you do that, their attacks will bounce off and give them more momentum to swing even harder. Imagine a water splash, in slow motion. The water doesn't break immediately, but instead, it follows the shape of the object that hits it. Then, once the object has penetrated the water enough, the pressure pushes upward, engulfing the object entirely.
Ah, I understand now. It's all about the flow, right? Just like you taught me before. Even in defense, I must maintain a flow, like a dancer where one move leads to another without stopping in between.
Precisely. In defense, you utilize the flow to deceive your opponent's movements or redirect their attacks.
Just like water. The opponent may think they've broken through, but in reality, they'll be fully engulfed. The harder their attack, the more they'll stumble in their own moves. Teach me more, G.
G proceeded to the next set of lessons. Now they focused on the art of fencing. Mordred held her sword further from her body, extending her arm to the side. The purpose was to test the enemy's capabilities and territory, also to assert her presence while engaging in a fast-paced exchange. G provided guidance, emphasizing the importance of maintaining distance and extending her arm as much as possible.
That's it, Mordred. Keep the sword further from your body and extend your arm to the side. Imagine your enemy right in front of you. If the tip of Clarent enters their territory, they'll have no choice but to react. They may try to repel your sword or step backward or sidestep. Your footwork must be agile, ready to move, and your sword must be primed for attack. If they step backward, it'll be their downfall, as you can boost yourself with a mana burst and deliver a fatal thrust with Clarent. A centimeter gap would result in a kill. Remember to hold the end of the hilt only.
Mordred listened attentively, absorbing G's instructions. She was eager to learn more.
What if they sidestep instead of moving backward?
In that case, follow their movement with your step, but lean in closer to them until your Clarent is within striking range for a short and quick thrust to their body. Your mastery over breath control ensures that you can effortlessly relax your muscles and infuse your motion with a sudden burst of speed.
And if they attempt to repel my sword?
Use their resistance as momentum to swing even harder and faster. Don't try to force back to that position. Instead, go with the flow of the momentum and unleash a powerful swing. The enemy repels your sword because they want to close the gap, so take advantage of their intentions.
And what if they jump?
If they can't evade in the air, seize the opportunity. Throw your sword at them and swiftly follow up with hand-to-hand attacks, aim for their jaw.
Mordred struggled to follow G's instructions, unable to properly hold the sword at the hilt. She made repeated mistakes in her grip.
No, that is not how you should hold Clarent in fencing stance, Mordred.
Mordred adjusted her grip on Clarent, but it was still incorrect.
Like this, maybe?
No, you should have a firm and strong grip at the end of the hilt, not just with 3 fingers.
Mordred attempted to correct her grip again, but it remained incorrect.
How about this then?
Here, let me show you.
G approached Mordred, who remained in her fencing stance. He leaned in towards her back and guided her right hand to a straight and firm position while holding Clarent. G's right hand gently grasped Mordred's hand.
Aim to the side, lower your knees slightly, and keep your left hand free to grab or push the enemy if they come too close.
Mordred fell silent, her cheeks blushing shyly as G's body leaned towards hers. She felt something stirring within her, a pleasant sensation that made her gaze at G with a newfound tenderness, as if she were drawn to him. G realized what was transpiring between them and the circumstances that surrounded them. For a fleeting moment, they stood there motionless, suspending any further explanation about the technique. In an unexpected turn, Mordred released her grip, letting Clarent fall to the ground, and bravely pulled G closer by his collar, planting a passionate kiss on his lips. Mordred rose to her tiptoes, heightening the intensity of the kiss as she pressed her lips against G's. She poured all her emotions into the moment, tears of overwhelming feelings streaming down her cheeks. It was the very first time Mordred had experienced such a profound connection in her entire life. A wave of shock surged through G, causing his eyes to widen in surprise. However, he didn't resist or reject Mordred's bold gesture. Instead, he responded by delicately sliding his hand behind Mordred's back, pulling her closer to him. With a tender embrace, G held Mordred tightly, savoring the intimate moment they shared. After a while, Mordred gently broke the kiss, creating a small space between them. She tenderly cupped G's face with her hands, gazing into his eyes with a mix of sincerity and vulnerability.
I understand that I'm not the same Mordred from your previous singularity, the one you loved. But I can't deny my own feelings, G. These past few days, I've been questioning myself if this affection is truly mine or if it's something inherited from that Mordred. I still don't have the answer, but one thing I know for certain is that I have genuine feelings for you. Despite not knowing where they come from, I like you. This is my own emotion, my own truth.
Mordred.
At the very least, allow me to express my feelings, G.
Overwhelmed with emotions, G sank to his knees, his tears streaming down his face. He leaned his head against Mordred's belly as she stood, her arms encircling him in a comforting embrace. G held onto Mordred by her hips, crying uncontrollably.
It's impossible for me to refuse you, but I left you. I left my Mordred behind in the previous singularity and fled to this one. How can I deserve your forgiveness and love, especially when you're not the same Mordred who was with me before?
I cannot speak for her, the Mordred you left behind in the previous singularity. But I can speak for myself, and I want you to know that even if you did the same thing to me, I forgive you. However, I must admit that deep within me, I don't want you to go. I won't let you go. I will do everything in my power to make you stay by my side.
They clung to each other, finding solace in their embrace. Mordred did her best to comfort G, offering him the warmth and support he needed. In that moment, G became her lover, and Mordred loved him with a depth of empathy she had never experienced before. It was as if she had always longed to be by his side, providing comfort during his moments of sadness. At nightfall, G prepared to settle on the couch as usual. As Mordred passed by, she noticed G getting ready to sleep there.
What are you doing?
Sleeping?
Yes, I know, but why do you still choose to sleep on the couch?
I usually sleep on the couch because you have the room, remember?
That's not what I'm asking. We're lovers now, so why don't you sleep with me?
I don't think it's appropriate.
Did you sleep together with your Mordred in the previous singularity?
G fell silent and averted his gaze. Mordred knew the answer was yes, but G was reluctant to admit it verbally.
You're hopeless. Come, I won't do anything strange. This is my first time having a lover in my life, and I believe it's the right thing to do.
Mordred extended her arm, inviting G. He took her hand, and Mordred led him to the room, where they would sleep on the bed. Mordred tucked him in with a blanket and then settled in beside him. Their eyes remained open, locked in each other's gaze. Mordred let out a sigh and attempted to initiate a conversation.
Tell me, did you often share a bed with your Mordred in the previous singularity?
Yes, we often slept together.
How did she come to love you so deeply?
I don't know.
Well, maybe one day I'll understand what she truly felt. By the way, now that we're lovers, what should I call you?
Usually, you call me by my name.
No, silly. I mean, what do lovers call each other? Alright then, you first. Once I know what you'll call me, I can decide what to call you.
Darling?
Okay. What about honey?
Actually I like it.
It's settled then. From now on I will call you honey.
Yes, darling.
Hey, I call you honey not because you are sweet and all, but because you like it.
I know. Thank you, darling.
No problem, honey.
Mordred and G chuckle, enjoying their playful banter about their new endearments.
Say, why do you have such a strong desire to destroy the Holy Grail? Is it solely to end the Holy Grail war and prevent it from happening again in the future?
Yes, that's one of the reasons. The Holy Grail is a chaotic mess.
Well, in a way, I can understand that. But as someone who loves battle, the Holy Grail war is like paradise to me. Besides, out of all the servants in the throne of heroes, why did you choose to summon me in the first place?
You are the Knight of Treachery, the Knight of Rebellion. What we're doing is an act of treachery against the Holy Grail system, a rebellion. I believe no other servant understands my intentions better than you. I don't want to gamble my life away, continuously summoning new servants who may end up acting on their own whims.
I see. Since there's no master-servant contract, and the servant is only bound to themselves, if you were to summon an arrogant servant, you would be offering your life for theirs.
And that's why I'm glad I summoned you. Not only are you beautiful, but I also feel loved by you.
Hearing G's words, Mordred couldn't help but blush. It was the first time someone had called her beautiful.
I am beautiful?
Yes, beautiful.
Mordred leaned closer to G and kissed him on the forehead, gently placing her hand on his cheek. With a smile on her face, she closed her eyes, ready for a peaceful night's sleep. Soon after, G followed suit, joining her in a restful slumber.